Winnie left the next summer to study art history in Paris.
Is everything all right? No. We gotta find Wayne.
Cooper was
Do you think that those people are free? They're not free, man. Except to buy Coca-Cola.
Yeah, I hear Claremont's got this center. He's hitting 60% of his shots.
And I respected his.
Guy's a cherry picker.
Majority of us have grown up watching the Wonder Years in the 90s, but it looks like the simplistic life the cast portrayed was a far cry from their daily life. In a twist of fate, women on set have broken their silence on harassment by Fred Savage they faced over the years.
Savage was aggressive towards me. He would routinely curse at me, yell at me, demean me. He hit my arm violently 3 times.
All this time, Fred has been plagued by rumors about his extremely short fuse on set. However, this time, the victims have started speaking out against him openly. The victims have reportedly demanded justice from the network.
Fred Savage was actually accused of hitting a woman multiple times because she wiped off the dandruff that he had on his suit.
Let's delve into this latest controversy that has set the entertainment industry ablaze. Once upon a time, Fred Savage was one of the most famous child actors in the world for his lovable performance as Kevin Arnold on The Wonder Years. Not to mention his role as an audience surrogate listening to Peter Falk tell the tale of the Princess Bride in Rob Reiner's film. Since growing out of his child stardom, Savage became a prolific television director. In fact, there are several The Conners episodes you likely didn't know Fred directed. But a dark cloud formed in the public eye over Savage's directorial work in May of 2022, when Savage was fired from his gig executive producing and directing episodes of the Wonder Years reboot amid allegations of unspecified misconduct between Savage and members of the show's cast and crew.
Former child star Fred Savage is accused of misconduct and inappropriate behavior.
Well, Savage, who's now 45, has been fired from producing and directing the reboot of the TV series.
A spokesman for Disney's 20th Television said in a statement to Deadline, "Recently, we were made aware of allegations of inappropriate conduct by Fred Savage, and as is policy, an investigation was launched. Upon its completion, the decision was made to terminate his employment as an executive producer and director of The Wonder Years." A recent article in The Hollywood Reporter revealed the whole truth, starting with a group of 6 unnamed women on the crew of the reboot of The Wonder Years, growing fed up with Fred's behavior toward them and reporting his alleged misconduct to higher-ups at Disney. An investigation led to Savage's firing, but after reports of overwhelming support from Savage's colleagues on the show, the women decided to go to the press to share details of what Savage was like to work with. According to them, the 46-year-old and married Savage began a close relationship with one much younger woman working on the crew of the show. The woman in question declined to comment on the situation, but other sources described his attitude towards her as extremely controlling of her daily behaviors and manipulative and erratic. One source alleged that she was verbally harassed and belittled by Savage after trying to defend the younger woman. This relationship reportedly served as the primary catalyst for the group's decision to go up the chain of command.
I always wondered how he was so good at playing a creepy man who manipulates women, but it turns out, in reality, that's just who he is.
Another unnamed crew member was reportedly the object of very blatant favoritism from Savage during the production of the reboot of The Wonder Years. This woman spoke to The Hollywood Reporter, describing a very platonic friendship with Savage that continued after she was let go from the show. However, the victim alleged that at a gathering in an Astoria bar near Savage's home, she was taken advantage of by Savage when he allegedly came into the women's room to meet her and pushed her up against the wall. She said, "He put his mouth on mine very forcefully. He went for the top of my pants. I brushed him away. Then he put his mouth on mine again, grabbed my hand and pulled it on his groin area. I was pulling back. He stopped very angrily. I shoulder checked him so I could get out." Savage continued to text and call for a couple weeks, but after no response, he finally left a voice message that she allegedly played for the trade paper. The message said, "It's your old friend Fred. We worked together for a while and then we didn't, and then I was a huge a-hole. And I'm really sorry. And I've kind of owed you an apology for a minute here. And so, the truth is I really like you, and I really want to be friends. And I'm so sorry that I f***ed that up." Sadly, this isn't the first time Fred was accused of such inhumane behavior. You see, a costume designer in the original The Wonder Years sued Fred in 1993 for SH when she was just 16. Another case was reported against Savage, wherein the allegation was that he struck and shouted at one of the woman employees in The Grinder production. She even claimed that he constantly hurled profanities at her and other women.
Savage was fired as executive producer and director from the reboot of The Wonder Years. Fred was fired following multiple complaints of misconduct.
Mr. Savage was aggressive towards me. He would routinely curse at me, yell at me, demean me. He hit my arm violently 3 times.
It is important to note that both of these cases were settled out of court with undisclosed settlements. Most fans believe that the settlements are a clear-cut indication of Savage's guilty conscience.
She was paid off to not speak about what she went through during this show.
One of the fans claimed, "Why? Would they cancel the show and pay off the costume designer if it was a ridiculous claim? They could have just paid her off and kept the show going if there was no actual problem." There was a problem. In the wake of the allegations, Savage delivered a statement to THR that read in part, "While there are some incidents being reported that absolutely did not and could not have happened, any one person who feels hurt or offended by my actions is one person too many. I will work to address and change any behavior that has negatively affected anyone, as nothing in this world is more important to me than being a supportive coworker, friend, husband, father, and person." However, Fred later changed his approach when the allegations got undivided public attention. He said, "Since I was 6 years old, I have worked on hundreds of sets with thousands of people and have always strived to contribute to an inclusive, safe, and supportive work environment. It is devastating to learn that there are coworkers who feel I have fallen short of these goals." Now, that was only the tip of the iceberg. You see, it was later revealed that the previous allegations leveled against Savage was the main reason behind the show's cancellation. Actress Allie Mills came forward with claims that the show's cancellation was the result of a harassment lawsuit filed against her co-stars Fred and Jason Hervey.
That was going on against Fred Savage, who was like the least offensive, most wonderful, sweet.
Allie supported Fred in the turbulent times, claiming that he was the most harmless guy to walk this earth. She said, "Fred Savage, who is like the least offensive, most wonderful, sweet human being that ever walked the face of the earth. So I just thought the lawsuit was a big joke and it was going to blow over. It's a little bit like what's happening now. Some innocent people can get caught up in this stuff. It's very tricky. It was so not true. It was my dresser, and I don't care if she's listening. I probably shouldn't be telling this, but I don't care because it was so long ago, and it's got to be over now." Since the lawsuit was dropped after an undisclosed out-of-court settlement was reached, a move that the actress alleged that their network, ABC, was behind. She also admitted that it made the production guilty of the alleged charges. "I just thought this was a joke. You know, they bought her off, which really made me mad. That was incorrigible that the network did that. They should never have paid her off. They wanted to avoid a scandal or something, but it made them look guilty. You know, you don't pay someone off when there was no crime, you just fire the girl." To top it off, when the custom designer was reached out by Yahoo for a comment, she revealed that she still stands by her claims. What I will say at this time is that back then, claiming sexual harassment was not popular nor acceptable in Hollywood. Now, all these years later, the truth about the dark side of Hollywood and the rampant prevalence of sexual harassment in the industry is out. It's an issue of power and control and continues to be. People can say what they want, but the truth has always been public record in the complaint and all the documents and depositions filed with the courts. If anyone wants the truth of what happened, they can read it there. To this day, I stand by the truth in those documents. My only response to Miss Mills's slander is that it proves exactly why women in the industry are forced to remain silent about harassment. When asked directly if a 7th season was torpedoed because of the allegations, Mills proclaimed, "Yeah, I mean, it would have gone as long as the show. When you keep up a certain amount of ratings, they keep a show going. But it was because of all that garbage." While ABC declined to comment on Mills's assertion, back in '93, 2 different reasons were cited for the Wonder Years' cancellation. First, as the stars of the show matured, the themes and storylines needed to as well, something the network was uncomfortable with. Writer and executive producer Bob Brush told the Los Angeles Times years ago, "When Kevin became 16 and 17, there were really things he needed to get to that we couldn't do at 8 p.m., especially with the kind of venerable cachet that the show had obtained with its audience. We would get notes from the network saying, "You could do this on any show besides The Wonder Years." Later on, an ABC spokeswoman told the LA Times that the Broadcast Standards Department. She said, "It was inappropriate to present Kevin's sexual awakening because of the setting in the 1960s, the gentle tone of the series, and, most importantly, the 8 p.m. time period." The show was largely viewed by young audiences who watch with their parents, and we had to be considerate of the viewer expectation that they could watch together and feel comfortable doing so. Secondly, the paper reported that escalating costs, including more location shoots and rising cast salaries, factored into the network's decision to end the show. When the cast filmed the series finale, Independence Day, no one knew if the next season was going to happen. People reported at the time that the mood on set soured as they wrapped season 6 amid the harassment scandal. A female member of the crew told the magazine, "We work together 14 hours a day, 5 days a week, and we're like a family. Now we're not allowed to hug on the set because it could be construed as sexual harassment. It's real sad." Mills alluded that the ambiguity regarding the show's fate upset her while filming what would ultimately be the series finale.
It was the 4th of July in that little suburban town.
She said, "So when we were standing in that parade at the end in the final episode of the show, the camera was panning on all of the characters, and we didn't know what our voiceover was that Daniel Stern does later. Usually we do, and we have this wonderful guy, Kirk Trotner. He was our narrator on the set, and Kirk would read the narration so that when the camera comes in on you, you know what Daniel is saying and you know what's happening emotionally. We had no idea as the camera goes over us for the last episode of The Wonder Years what they were going to say. And I just said, this is wrong. I was always kind of the loudmouth because I was the grown-up. But I was very, very upset, and they all knew it." In the wake of the allegations leveled by the dresser in '93, Savage released a written statement explaining that they were without merit. "These accusations are completely without merit and absolutely untrue. After concluding a thorough investigation, Fox determined that there was absolutely no evidence to support these accusations. None of her claims could be substantiated because they did not happen." Now that's not all. Still, after all these years, Mills is an unwavering supporter of Fred. She said, "Fred and his family are like the greatest human beings that ever lived. He still is. He is an amazing kid, Fred, just amazing. His family is amazing. And you know, Fred, who would hold you by your ears and tell you that he loved you, that's sexual harassment." So it gets really tricky, this thing that's happening right now, all of these allegations, when they're true, awesome, bring it out, bring things to the light. But it's so important, and because I actually know a couple that are not true, it's tricky. It's really tricky because people would rather just let go of it than allow you your truth in your time in court. So this was like one of the first ones. Ahead of the Wonder Years reboot, Savage spoke to people about the experience of producing the show. Savage told the magazine of seeing the first episode of the reboot. "I teared up. This show is so personal to me, and it's really a spiritual and emotional cousin to the original. Anytime I get to work with young actors, it takes me back. I still feel like I'm 12 years old, and I had such a wonderful experience on the show. I look back on it very fondly." Savage added at the time that he was relishing the chance to revisit the show that formed his career and changed his life. He said, "One of the nice ripple effects of the new show is that it's brought me back into the orbit of the original cast. I talked to Josh Saviano, who played Paul Pfeiffer, and Danica McKellar, who played Winnie Cooper, and Dan Loria, who played his dad, Jack Arnold, and I exchange emails. I think people might work their whole careers to find an opportunity to be part of something that endures like the Wonder Years. The fact that I was able to do that at a young age is really special. I feel so fortunate." In an interview with THR, Fred recalled the time when he was asked to take a part in the reboot. He said, "Lee Daniels' company got the rights to the Wonder Years, and they reached out to me several years ago like, 'We have this thing. We want to do it about a black family.' I was like, I love the idea. I don't think that's my story to tell, but I'll watch and support it." Years passed, and I made a pilot that Saladin wrote. It didn't ultimately go forward, but I made this bond with Saladin K. Patterson. And the next year, he asks me to drinks and says, "I talked to Lee Daniels, and I'm going to be writing The Wonder Years." And as I told Lee, I said, "I don't know if that's my story to tell, but you're the guy to do it. You'll be amazing." Saladin said, "I'm telling you that you have a place in this, and I'm not going to do it without you." So we talked about it for a few weeks, and honestly, I had to kind of get over myself a bit and realize that we were telling a new story. Apart from that, a source told people in mid-May, a week after the firing, that Savage was taking a break in the wake of complaints that he was mistreating crew members. LA Times reported, instead of him being like, "Screw you for saying this to me," he's like, "Okay, well, if that's how people are feeling, I need to figure out what I could be doing better," the source said, noting that Savage's flaw after working in the industry for so long is that sometimes he gets pissed off on set and gets annoyed. Another insider revealed that Savage did indeed have anger problems. They said, "He works his crews pretty hard by always doing more takes than necessary. Some directors just overshoot. Sometimes they feel like they didn't get the performance or want to try another angle or things like that. He overshoots and the days are longer, therefore giving more opportunities to snap at people. Savage could have a temper and occasional outbursts." Many of you might not know, but Fred's first screen appearance was in the 1986 movie The Boy Who Could Fly. This role also earned him his first award. After making a few more appearances on other shows, he played the lead role on the comedy drama series The Wonder Years at the age of 12. Named one of the 20 best shows of the 1980s, the show won a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Comedy Series after only 6 episodes had been aired. It earned Fred several awards such as Young Artist Award for Best Young Actor. The child actor also became the youngest person ever to be nominated for the Emmy Award for the Best Leading Performer.
When's Dad coming home?
Any minute. Between the traffic and his job, he's liable to be very tense, so let's not make him crazy.
Throughout his career, he has acted in films such as The Wizard and The Rules of Attraction. However, as an adult, he has been seen more on television and has appeared in TV shows such as Working and Oswald. His latest role on TV was in the legal comedy TV series The Grinder.
It's all subjective. Every person.
His career in TV also started in 1986 with a supporting role in the well-known TV series The Twilight Zone. The show, which had started airing in '85 on the CBS network, ran till '89, covering 3 seasons. He also appeared in Dinosaurs, a fun-filled trip back in time, a short film in which he played the lead role. The same year, he appeared in the adventure fantasy film The Princess Bride, a movie based on a novel of the same name by William Goldman. The film was a commercial success and received mostly positive reviews. The film earned Fred his second award, the Young Artist Award for Best Actor. The next year, he appeared in Vice Versa, an American comedy film, which was about an ancient skull stolen by some thieves from a Buddhist monastery. Though the film flopped at the box office, Fred's performance won him the Saturn Award for Best Young Performer.
Awesome. And vice versa.
Maybe this happened all over America.
Savage made his directorial debut in 2007 with the comedy film Daddy Day Camp. Starring actors such as Cuba Gooding Jr., Lachlan Monroe, and Richard Gant, the film was a moderate commercial success. However, it became one of the worst reviewed films. The film won the Golden Raspberry Award for Worst Sequel, and Savage was nominated for the Golden Raspberry Award for Worst Director. Aside from that, his next significant role on TV was in the TV series Working, where he played the lead role. The show aired from 1997 to 1999 and covered 2 seasons. Having done several roles in television over the next decade, such as Oswald and Crumbs, his latest role on TV was as an actor in The Grinder, a comedy series, which aired from September 2015 to May 2016. Throughout his career, he also directed several episodes of various TV shows. Some of them are Perfect Couples, Two Broke Girls, and Casual.
Cassie, she's the best friend one could have.
I can't believe you're doing this.
I'm so proud we're doing this together.
Fans, however, believe that Fred became entitled over his long career in the Wonder Years, and that's why he got away with the things he did unscathed. This is not surprising at all. He was a cute kid in the Wonder Years. The longer that series continued, the more spoiled and entitled he became. The directors and producers would cater to his every whim. He was a teen, he needed boundaries, which he was never given. This is the result of raising an entitled kid. While others suspect that maybe Fred himself went through something traumatic in his career, I think something for sure happened to him as a child in the industry, and instead of speaking out and getting the help he needed, he continued the cycle of abuse unto others. So sad, I had no idea about this problematic past, and was such a fan of his works in the 80s, 90s. All in all, it is quite clear that Fred was actually responsible for some sort of misconduct, as he was cut out from the show in the reboot. Not to mention, all the detailed accounts the anonymous victims gave are quite credible. The network must make Savage go through an extensive public investigation so that the whole truth can be published. That's it for today. See you at the next one. Goodbye.